everyone, it's John Brewer here with Practicing Company, South Florida's premier restaurant broker, South Florida Restaurant Buzz. And it's my honor to have with me now Mr. Mike Goodwin.
Hello, John.
Mike,
good morning.
Good morning. Mike is coming into a space that used to be called The Zone, among other places, in Boca Raton and Federal Highway, and we're catching him in the beginning of his concept here. Just wanted to get a little overview from Mike on what's going on and what's happening here. Mike and I actually met each other a while back through a friend, Beth Azor. We actually knew each other a little bit from Las Vegas, kind of ran around but never physically met each other over at the Palms. What did you do over at the Palms again?
I was the director of entertainment for the Palms for a short period of time, working with George Maloof and Paul Pusateri, running the theater, the lounges, everything to do outside of the nightclubs.
Gotcha.
So concerts and things like that.
So tell us, what brings you to Boca Raton, South Florida area? What's your concept? What are you going after here?
Well, I'll tell you what got us here was we spent a little bit of time overseas working in the Bahamas, and we worked in Punta Cana for a bit doing the entertainment for some casinos and resorts in those areas. Fell in love with the climate, really loved the Caribbean, the hot, year-round summer, and my wife really wanted to come to Florida, so we decided to move to Boca Raton. The schools are great here. The community is fantastic, and we feel like the business environment for what we do is right. Cool. So,
and you found this space?
Yeah, we started looking around. We had two different concepts that we were looking at developing. This is the one that we're taking to fruition. It's going to be a brewery, a brew pub, and with a full menu. So we're going to be, having a great restaurant here, and we're going to grow all of our own vegetables. We're going to grow all of our own herbs and spices right here on premise. And we're also going to be a live music venue to kind of carry along what my past has been in the entertainment world. So kind of combining the fresh craft beers, fresh craft foods with some crafty jams.
Oh, cool. So you're going to be booking bands, rock and roll DJs?
Mostly live bands. Some DJs will perform here during different times. We're going to be very cognizant of noise levels during the lunch hours, the early evening hours, and then let it rock and roll at night.
Okay, so you'll be open to 2 a.m., I imagine?
We will be, and we'll be very family oriented. We have huge patios surrounding the building.
Right.
We're going to have all the accoutrements that you would find at a typical brewery and a tasting room, with the games and the things on the patios, and then tie it in with more of your restaurant vibe on the inside. But we also will feature all the sports. We'll feature UFC fights. We'll feature all the football, baseball, basketball, everything, soccer, hockey.
So basically a good meeting place for people, food, beer.
Yes, it's going to be a casual, the atmosphere is casual, but the food and the beer is serious.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about the way the beer is going to be set up. I know we kind of talked about where you're going to be placing everything.
Well, I think that obviously the craft brewing business has grown exponentially over the last 10 years, and right now we have over 5,500 breweries throughout the United States that are craft brewers.
Oh, wow.
They're now taking about 20% of the market share of beer sales in the United States, which is amazing. And one of the things that I found as I'm getting into it more, getting more involved in it, is that it's kind of like sushi, where some people just don't eat sushi, but when you introduce them to a California roll, they start getting the taste for the different varieties of sushi. And I think
right.
The craft beer is similar, that we're going to be bringing them in with the Craft Beer 101. We'll be able to introduce them to a lighter fare, to a less boisterous flavors, and then bring them up into the more challenging styles. And we're excited about being able to have the whole genre of beer schedule or types here, created and designed here. But we're also really cognizant of the hot environment. People want something fresh and light and refreshing. Right. And so we're going to really feature and focus on that type of beer.
I think especially with the weather here, I've noticed lately with craft brews, and I'm a layman brewer. I brew stuff at home, 5-gallon batches, and I have a lot of enjoyment with that. And I'm kind of the same way. The IPAs, the triples, I mean, they get to be a bit much. But what I'm finding now, what they're starting to do is, I think that they're doing an IPA, but they're kind of getting fruit overtones in there. So they're kind of catering to, a South Florida beer when you're on your boat and you're sweating and you're active. It's a beer that you can knock a few back and have a good time with. It's not going to overwhelm the palate.
Or get you too full. Because a lot of the big beers, you can drink a couple of them, but then you really feel like you've eaten a meal. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the domestic beer drinkers, they like to drink beer throughout the day, watch a game, drink 6, 7, 8 beers. And if you do that with strong craft beer, an 8 or 9% alcohol craft beer, you'll be on the floor.
Sure.
So, you know, the sessions and the lighter beers are really becoming very popular in the craft world. And,
Sure.
And I think that it should be here, you know. with the heat.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the other side of that too is, as I've gotten more into beers, is if I'm eating very bold foods, a spicy food, I kind of like a stronger beer that's going to stand up to those flavors too. So,
Exactly.
you know, you get the best of both worlds. Now, we were talking, I mean, we talked a little bit about with Funky Buddha, or the one that just got sold to Constellation,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more of a distributor, which means you don't really have the food. There's kind of been some regulation issues. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. By Florida law is one which the brew pub is restricted to on-premise sales, whereas the brewery is able to sell and package their beers to go, as well as you can take it individually on premise, off of premise. I think that the reason why that is because the lobby for the big breweries, the Buds and the Coors, have a lot of stronghold on the you know, the government here in a sense of their lobby dollar, and they don't want a brewery like myself to be able to steal shelf space from them in a retail store, and hence the regulations that hinder certain things from happening. I believe that, you know, it's and it also hinders the breweries from making food, because
Right.
they can't have a real kitchen, hence they have the food trucks out front, which is a secondary, you know, it's fun, but it's certainly not keeping you on premise for very long. So
Right.
I think that, you know, there's some laws and regulations that I think hinder the overall brewery business in Florida at this point. But I think that as time comes, we'll loosen up some
And
of those
you
rules
can't
and
even do
regulations.
growlers, right? You can't even do, if you made a special growler and I came in and I ordered your chicken wings and came in with a growler, you can't refill that growler for me to take off premises, if I understand correctly.
That is the way that the law is today. So if you're going to have Crazy Uncle Mike's beer, you're going to be drinking it at Crazy Uncle Mike's.
Right.
But it's the same that Brewsy's been living under for the years that they've been open, and the regulations are not new, but I think they're dated.
Okay.
There's an opportunity to maybe look at the future and say, what makes sense for the community? What makes sense for development? What makes sense for safety?
Sure.
And those kind of things. Because if you want to take your growler home and eat at home and have a beer with it, it seems fair that you would want to drink your favorite beer, and if that happened to be mine, I would love to be able to sell it to you.
Sure. So you've been kind enough. This is you're in the demo phase right now, I believe, still kind of salvaging what you can in the space, and I know you've got plans that are very detailed about what you want to do, putting the what do they call the brew barrels?
Yeah, the kettles and
Kettles.
Yeah, the kettles is the actual brew house,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got your fermenting tanks, your bright tanks.
And that's going to be kind of a display in the front, right?
Yeah, in fact, that was another thing that I was making a point of, kind of Brewing 101. When you walk into our location, we're not hiding our system. It's not behind a wall. It's up front and center. You'll be able to watch the brewer do his thing during the day if you come in on brew days. It'll be restricted from access to walk in there and get close to it in the sense of walking through it without a tour. But it will be very close. It'll be so close that you really don't need to, and you'll be able to watch and see. And it's going to be pretty interesting because we're putting it up front and center. We're making it a showpiece of our property as the brewery.
Excellent. I know you guys are working on the facade too, and I'm going to show some pictures to go along with that and what you guys are going to do. You've been kind enough to let us come in here, and we're going to check back on you from week to week and time to time and
Great.
see how the whole crazy process for Crazy Uncle Mike's comes along, and we appreciate that. And we wish you the best of luck. And you're going to show me around a little bit.
I will.
Look around. You're going to point out some of the changes you're going to make here. And it's such an interesting business, the beer business right now, and how it's evolving. And great to have you here in South Florida and being a part of it.
We're excited to be here, and we appreciate the welcome that we've gotten as we've started to delve into the business aspects in Boca. From the council, from everybody that has to do with authorities here. It's been a pleasure to work through the city process. Got a great group with Everglades Group, which is a construction GC as well as an architectural firm that's on board designing it, and that team's been fantastic. So we're excited about being here and look forward to serving the community and doing some special things.
Hey John, we're outside right now underneath the portico share that we're actually going to be taking off of the building because it really dates it. We're going to take down the awning, and we're going to take down those Italian pillars too because they don't really fit. When you see what's going to be done, it's going to be tin roofs and no more Pueblo tile. It's going to be very modern looking brewery style building. So you're going to like what you see. Come on in. We're going to remove these doors and move them to the center. And this will be our brewery right here. gonna be a little bit dark.
No, we got good color here.
All right. So our brew kettles will be in this area. We're gonna have a 10-barrel brewing system that's gonna be steam fired. If you know anything about brewing systems, there's direct fire or steam fire. Steam fire is a lot more controllable, and it's what they use on the bigger systems. So it'll be something that we'll be really proud to have here. And it's a brand new system. It's already been ordered, and we're excited about having it. So we're back in the main dining room and the entertainment facility. So the giant bar that you see today in the middle of the room, that's going to go away. And we're going to have one of the longest bars in Boca Raton. It's going to go all the way from this door. It's going to come out and go all the way down past the third door. And it'll also have seating on these outside doors from when you're on the patio. So you're going to have seating indoors, seating outdoors at the bar. Really excited about that. The people in Boca, with our weather being beautiful 12 months of the year. A little bit of rain today, but other than that, it's a great place to have indoor-outdoor seating.
No, I see that a lot. I see a lot of restaurants, and it's usually, especially for happy hour, things like that, it's the busiest area. The people can sit outside but feel like they're still having a bar experience.
Well, when we walked in, too, where the portico is today, will be an outdoor patio as well. The outdoor patios will actually surround 3/4 of our building. So if you're an outdoor enthusiast, like a lot of us are here in Boca, this would be a great place for you to come dine.
Fantastic. All this out here?
Yeah. So wrap around the front and the back of the building.
So basically all of these here that'll be bar, and those will be bar tops with 4 seats at each one.
Yeah, and the punch outs will be taken down. So there'll be bigger patio and garage doors at the wall itself.
Fantastic.